Still rising on a worn-out town, paint peeling off them old brick signs. Folks work hard, keep their heads down, trying to hold on to better times. Used to leave your door unlocked at night, now everybody's got a camera on. Still got faith if we get it right, we can fix what's gone wrong. Ain't about talk, ain't about show, it's about the way we live, the way we know. Let's get back to dirt roads, back to porch lights, never standing up when it ain't polite. Cold beer, hard true styles up above, a little less noise and a whole lot of love. Red, white, blue ain't a trend we chase, it's sweat on your shirt and calloused hands grace. If we're gonna stand, we don't stand apart.
Well, good evening and welcome into Apex News Above the Noise. I am Kyle Thompson.
And I'm Craig Blanton.
Craig, we got a packed show. It's been such a wild and crazy weekend. It seems like there's stuff popping off all the time. We start this morning in Western Colombia where a magnitude 7.4 earthquake, that's before they have gone back and revised that. Struck before 7:30 local time, felt across Colombia into Ecuador. As far as Panama and Venezuela, buildings evacuated in 3 capital cities. We'll tell you what we know, just as importantly what we don't know at this point. Then we're going to head to the NBA, the WNBA, where we are not talking about this in the sports section because this has now crossed over into a cultural issue, and the entire United States is now talking about this WNBA issue, which has completely lost control of its own narrative and own story. Saturday, Sophie Cunningham, the player at the center of the transgender athlete debate, took a forearm across the face and neck on a breakaway layup, flagrant 2 ejection. Then the woman who fouled her posted 2 words on social media, white privilege. Meanwhile, 2 former NBA players have now declared for the 2027 WNBA draft to make a point about the league's eligibility rules. One of them saying he isn't mocking anybody, and the other one very much mocking them and doesn't really care to hold back on it. The commissioner has sent a memo. The league is meeting this week. Then to Washington, where at 4 o'clock Saturday morning, the Senate confirmed Todd Blanche as Attorney General of the United States, 50-49. And then to Iran, where over the weekend, Tehran added something to its price for reopening the Strait of Hormuz, war reparations. And, of course, we'll get into the topic that everyone in Kentucky is talking about right now. We're going to reset Kentucky's last open scholarship with good news today on Mark Mitchell. So let's get above the noise. But before we get into tonight's show, welcome into Apex News. If this is your first time joining us, we created this show so that you could have all the facts and all the news without all the spin. If tonight gives you something to think about, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell so that you're notified every single time we're about to go live. Doesn't cost you anything, means the world to us, though. And if you have anybody in your life that you feel needs to be above the noise, make sure you share it with them as well. Now, let's get into it. At 7:34 this morning, Colombian time, magnitude 7.4 earthquake struck Western Colombia. The epicenter was about 5 kilometers, roughly 3 miles east of a town called San José del Palmar in the Chocó department. That's a mountainous country in the southwest of Chocó, near the borders with Risaralda and Valle del Cauca, about 174 miles west of Bogotá, the capital of Colombia. Here's the number that matters most and that most coverage will skip: the depth. The United States Geological Survey put it at 170 kilometers, 66 miles down below the Earth's crust. The Colombian Geological Survey says 96 kilometers. Estimates across agencies range from 76 to 107. That is a deep, deep earthquake, and depth is the difference between a bad morning and a catastrophe. When a quake this size happens 10 kilometers down, you get devastation. When it happens to be 66 miles down, the energy spreads across a much wider area, but the shaking at the surface is dramatically weaker. That's why people in Quito described it as long and rolling rather than violent, although we're about to show you some video.
Yeah, if that's weak, good
Damn
Lord, I'd hate to
violent.
see one close.
It
God,
was scary. Let's get right into that. It's the best way to actually do it. What we are
Blanche
about
is
to show
building
you,
down everywhere.
yeah, what we are about to show you is from NBC News. Some of the video you're going to see can be triggering to an extent. It's very violent, and we want to go ahead and let you know that before you see this footage.
You got audio with it too. Attack that building coming in. You ever experienced an earthquake, Kyle?
What's that?
You ever experienced an earthquake?
Not like that. I've experienced an earthquake, but nothing like this. The
I've
sad
never
part
felt
about
one.
this is this mission church here that's been here for almost 200 years.
Yeah.
From what I've been reading, and you will see some massive, when they pan back over here, you see some just heartbreaking damage that's occurring to this.
It could be two planes there.
So I don't know who the AP talked to about that said it was just rolling and not violent. That was a violent quake, something that unfortunately this area in South America is prone to, but they have had their share over the last few months as well. Here's what's confirmed and here's what isn't, and we're going to be careful about the difference because early disaster reporting is where a lot of outlets get things badly wrong. Confirmed, the shaking was felt in Bogotá, Cali, Popayan, Manizales, Armenia, Pereira, Medellin, Ibagué, and Quito, and as far away as Venezuela. Bogotá's mayor, Carlos Fernando Galan, said some buildings in the capital had cracked but there were no reports of severe structural damage. Office workers went into the streets in Bogotá, in Quito, and in Panama City. In Ecuador, residents in Carchi, Pichincha, Guayas, and Esmeraldas felt prolonged shaking. Major hospitals in Quito evacuated as a precaution. No emergencies have been reported. However, just as we were about to go on here, all of that has changed. And here's what happens when you're in the third world. They will initially send out this, we don't know anything, everything's fine, we'll figure it out and let you know. You have to also remember a number of these countries are antagonistic of the United States. They are not flat out allies. Colombia actually is about to have an election that will actually just had an election that will install a further right-wing individual in that position. This will cause a little bit of chaos. And then what ends up happening is the death toll starts coming out. Right now, there are 111 confirmed deaths in Colombia that we know of. Venezuela, Ecuador have not announced any. Panama has not announced any. And as the day goes on, you guys will be able to watch this later on tonight.
And follow it on X. There's all kinds of videos on X.
There are tens of thousands of people that are missing at this point. People had left to go to work. School was starting, and so this is concerning because of the numbers that are coming out immediately. This is a little different than the one that they had in Venezuela just about 2 months ago, where it was in the middle of the night. They had to determine what kind of damages they had. Here, we know that there are a lot of deaths, and we have a lot that are missing at this point. Craig, there's a pattern in disaster coverage where the first casualty numbers get repeated for a week, even after it's revised. We've got a governor reporting injuries, unverified videos of collapses, although that's NBC reporting those. now we have 111 confirmed deaths. How should people read the news over the next 48 hours on this particular issue?
Well, the numbers are going to go up. I checked the time in Colombia. It's 1 hour behind us. Okay. So it's like Central Time Zone. So this was on a Monday. Everybody's going back to work. Everybody's going back to school. Everybody's out and about this time of day. So the numbers, they'll go up. They have to be, because there's just too many people outside of their homes.
Yeah.
And they're going into their office buildings, going into schools. And whoever said this was a rumbling, I've watched videos all day on X, and there are buildings falling everywhere.
Yeah.
Buildings with cracks. So they're going, they're going to have to tear those buildings down too.
And the other thing you'll have to take a look at here, Craig, is that in Colombia, people were going to work. It was 7:30 in the morning local time. So you have people who are out and about. In Ecuador, it is a national holiday today. So everyone was at home. So if that's good and bad. It's good if they're in a one-story, home that they live in. Many people live in multi-story, multi-family housing. If they're in those, that could be significantly worse because of the potential. The other thing you have to take into consideration is the Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador. These are countries who have not been great at infrastructure and saving their infrastructure. So at this point, what we may end up seeing is the secondary aspects of this, where there may be power and water that is disrupted for a number of days, if not weeks, from these people.
Yeah, and we haven't had any reports on tremors that have followed.
And they always do.
Yeah, it's 7.4. They could have 7.0, 6.9 tremors that take down the many of the other buildings that were damaged in the first earthquake. And I haven't seen anything in Ecuador that will rival what happened in Colombia, but they're all on the Ring of Fire. And the Ring of Fire is very active right now. There's earthquakes all over that thing. So I don't know if Earth is resetting or what, but there's an amazing amount of earthquakes through there right now.
Another thing that caught my attention in that video, and I am no expert, but if you are in a situation like this, get out from under those power lines. There were tons of people standing in the streets thinking that they were away from the danger, but they were directly under power lines. It's those down power lines that kill a bunch of people. Make sure that you get away from those. If you are in a situation like this, you saw the people who were kind of hunkered down inside the airport at the very beginning of that. I think that was the airport. Get out. Get out of those buildings. Even if you have to run out into a field, but get away from a high-rise building. It is a scary scenario down there. And once again, it's a benefit to the people of Colombia, just like it was a benefit to the people of Venezuela, that Colombia is now renewing their relationships with the Trump administration, and now that they will ask for help. And the United States has already pledged billions of dollars to Venezuela. Now you're going to be turning around and
how much have other countries pledged? It's always that.
Yeah. Is there another country that's pledged? I mean, some have gone in with some people, but not like the money.
No, we'll end up carrying the burden again.
Yeah. A couple things that we want to leave you with on this, and the details do matter. As we talked about in Ecuador, the quake struck during the middle of a national holiday. August 10th is the premier Grito de Independencia, the first cry of independence, commemorating the day in 1809 when Quito rose against Spanish rule. It's one of the most significant dates on that country's calendar. So a lot of people who have evacuated buildings this morning were out celebrating. And the second is the geology, because this is not a random event. Western Colombia and Ecuador sit on one of the most active subduction zones on the planet, where the North Andes plate grinds northeast against the South American plate at about 8.5 millimeters a year. That same zone produced the 1906 Ecuador-Colombia earthquake, which was a magnitude 8.8, one of the largest ever in history. 7.4, by the way, we've talked about this before with other quakes on this show. The difference between a 6.4 and a 7.4 is not a magnitude of 1. It is significantly
1,000 times, between 7 and 8, 1,000 times.
Right.
100 per 10th.
So it is scary what this is, and heaven forbid this is an is not the big one. That this was just a precursor, which isn't what everyone is always worried about. So
now Kel says he remembers one. Well, we got Western Kentucky. We've got the new Madrid fault.
Yeah,
that is due for a big one anytime. It's
is
actually overdue. And I checked a couple of years ago about getting earthquake insurance. When I first got my house, it was like $200 a year. Now it's like $10,000.
Yeah,
insurance companies know stuff that we don't know.
Well, and this is, people can blame a lot of things. The magnitude and power of Mother Nature is scary, and all we can do is
try to be prepared.
Try to be prepared, but at the same time, hope and pray that everyone down there will be okay. And
it'll be days before we know the true scope of what's happened down there. It'll be days.
Absolute tragedy. Well, from a genuine disaster to a self-inflicted one, because the WNBA has completely lost control of its own story. And this weekend, it got a whole lot worse, Craig. I can't even put this in the sports department because this is a cultural news story at this point, and it's going across a bunch of boundaries here. Saturday afternoon in Chicago, nationally televised, India. For some reason, I was watching this game. I was flipping through, and you and I texted immediately when this happened. Nationally televised, Indiana Fever at the Chicago Sky, and I'll tell everybody, I am not a big WNBA fan. I know who the players are. I can watch a game if I need to, but I had no intent of watching this game. But I was waiting for the Tigers game to start, and this one was on. In the first quarter, Sophie Cunningham gets out ahead of everybody on a breakaway. It goes up for a layup. It's just better if I just go ahead and show you.
3 minutes into the game.
Sometimes it's fun to look back at past draft classes. Dejanay was taken 20th in that draft.
So Sky have the ball, and they're
going to If you redrafted the 2021 class, she'd be the first person.
Yes.
Right? Now, it wasn't a particularly strong class, but 20 was an absolute steal for Dejanay Carrington. Here's Cunningham up ahead of the field, lays it in, plus the foul, and then Cunningham gets into the face of Dejanay Carrington right away.
It's hard to see there, but you'll get into.
Oh, you'll see the replay here.
Yeah, in the NBA, the player would have just the offending player would have just walked back to because he knew what the call was going to be.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then away in the aftermath, and Cunningham has to be separated as both teams will head to their benches.
You'll see a Dejanay Carrington as Sophie Cunningham comes down, gets her right across the face, coming down, trying to prevent the layup, but that is just a hard hit. That's definitely going to be upgraded, I think.
Let me just say, if you did that on a street corner,
the ball went in. She made the layup.
Yeah, well, she made the shot, yeah. But if you did that to somebody on a street corner, you're going to jail for the night.
Well, you do it in the NBA. You do it in the NBA, it's automatic flagrant. There's no discussion.
They know. They walk away. They're already walking to their bench. They know what's up.
That's right.
That is going to be a flagrant, too. There is wind up. There is follow through. There's potential for injury.
Without
Sophie Cunningham in a vulnerable position in the air.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, there's no question why Sophie Cunningham got up and took exception to that hit from Dejanay Carrington. I would be stunned if that is not a flagrant, too.
And credit Michaela Timpson. The young player got right in there, wrapped her arms around her teammate to make sure this did.
Now, I question to myself, see the Indiana player with the ball?
Yep.
She didn't immediately go to her defense.
And in fact, her own player kind of pulled her out of it. I would have let Sophie.
I mean, she didn't go after the other player like you see. Same thing happened when Caitlin Clark got clobbered a few times. The Indiana players just stand around and watch.
Escalate any further. You see Timpson right there grabbing her and just getting her out of the way.
Like that. Dejanay could have.
Then John Boy does the video and he
I'll be
literally
stunned if it's not upgraded to a flagrant.
We can't use the same words here.
Yeah.
There is wind up. There is follow through. There is contact to the end in a vulnerable position. I don't see how that's anything other than a flagrant, too.
But
we're
you
gonna
never
talk
know
about-
in the NBA.
Yeah, you don't.
WNBA.
Well, Sophie Cunningham just last week took an elbow to the face like a day or two after she had made these comments, these controversial comments that I don't know how they're controversial. She takes an elbow to the face, and they called her for a foul.
Right. And
after they reviewed it.
Caitlin Clark goes in for a layup, gets pushed, barely hits the referee, and the referee calls a tech on Caitlin Clark instead
Which would have been her 8th of the season. Yeah.
But it overturned in 2 hours, just like we said it would.
Let's see. They got the call here.
Is it unnecessary and
Look at
excessive?
that. I mean, if that's not
Unnecessary is flagrant 1. Excessive is flagrant 2. That's excessive.
That's excessive.
That's excessive.
By all precedent we have seen in this league, prior to that foul, you would have to believe it's going to be upgraded to a flagrant 2.
Yeah, John Boy says that she's saying "try me." That's what Dejanay Cunningham is saying, is "try me." Or Carrington, Dejanay Carrington is saying "try me." I don't think that Sophie's the one. I mean, Sophie would try. For those of you who don't know, she has a background in martial arts. Yeah.
After you, the defensive foul on Dejanay Carrington has been upgraded to a flagrant foul, penalty 2.
Look at, she's shocked. She's shocked. Wait, I can't punch somebody in the head?
Like just the hair.
Since the basket was successful, Sophie Cunningham will receive 2 free throws. Wind up impact.
Look at the girl. Look at the girl in the yellow shirt to the far right. Her mouth
they're shocked. They're shocked that you can't assault someone on a basketball court.
Since the basket was successful, Sophie Cunningham will receive 2 free throws to make 1.
2 free throws to make 1.
Retain possession of the ball at the free throw line extended with 24 seconds on the shot clock.
I mean, that's an obvious call. And anyone who has watched this
then
league,
she goes over to the ref,
and any other
they let her go over to the
prior
ref.
flagrants would tell you as soon as they saw one replay of that was going to be a flagrant 2.
Because she's already removed from the game, but still though.
And
You could tell watching it live it was going to be a flagrant 2.
There's wind up, there's follow through, there's potential for injury. The
I think
players
those announcers are racist.
You think so?
I'll just say it right now.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Here's the thing.
You didn't go to the. You don't got her walking out of the gym.
Yeah.
She walked out of the gym in Chicago for
that foul. Tell you as soon as they saw one replay of that was going to be a flagrant 2.
Start arguing with the ref, and then she
tell watching it live it was going to be a flagrant 2.
I don't know what they're talking about.
There's wind up, there's follow through, there's potential for injury. The player's in a vulnerable position, and so Dejanay Carrington, who had been off to an incredible start,
listen to this crowd,
is now ejected from the game following that hard foul on Sophie Cunningham.
Why would you watch this league?
Just okay that Sophie's okay, or happy that Sophie's okay, because man, that's a hit.
Yeah, when you're in the.
Yeah, I've seen Bill Lambier do that to Larry Bird many times.
Yeah, and both guys stayed in the game, by the way.
Yeah, back 30 years ago.
Yeah, and everybody did it back then. So here's a couple things you have to understand. The shot went in, which is a great point, by the way. Way to follow through. The officials called a flagrant 1, went to review, upgraded to a flagrant 2. Carrington was ejected. Cunningham got 2 free throws. And Cunningham, who is not exactly known for turning the other cheek, popped straight up, got in Carrington's face, gave her a shove, and had to be restrained by her teammate, Michaela Timpson, and by security while a small scrum formed. Indiana did win 90-86, by the way. Afterward, Cunningham said this: "Clearly, I think it was unnecessary. I've never really spoken to her and have no beef with her, but I guess she has some pent-up stuff. And then, it's intentional." Carrington declined to comment. And here's the part. Everybody's going to talk about the white privilege tweet and everything else, and we'll talk about that. But Cunningham's own coach, Stephanie White, this is twice now in the last 2 weeks, did not back her own player up.
Yep, I'd fire on the spot.
On the spot. If I was the owner of the Indiana Fever, she would not be getting on the bus.
Yeah, she would have been fired sitting in the chair at the microphone.
Yeah. White said, "Look, it was a hard foul. It did happen, and I thought it was the right call." But she added that Carrington is going to play her butt off, that nobody's walking in for a free layup, that she doesn't oppose the hard foul, and that she does not think Carrington intentionally went for the neck. Baloney. Do you think Mark Pope, John Calipari, do you think
video?
I don't have of that.
Oh, okay.
Do you think Hurley up at Connecticut, do you think they're going to go, well, it was a hard foul, you know,
Hurley would've went
they're
nuts.
never going to let her go in for an easy layup. Absolutely not. They're calling for a suspension. They're backing up their players. This is what's wrong with the WNBA. It is us versus them, and it's not your team. It's not your team versus the other team. It's where you are in the political spectrum. And that's all this is. It's a joke, and somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to get hurt. This league has lost the plot. Craig, start with just the basketball. You and I watch basketball all the time. We're jonesing for, college basketball and high school basketball to get here. That's a chase down on a breakaway, and hard fouls on breakaways are as old as the sport is. You just talked about Lane Beer and Kurt Rambis and those guys. The officials upgraded to a flagrant 2, and Cunningham's own coach said it was the right call. But the question is this. Was it a dirty play or simply a hard play? And let's switch out, and I'm gonna switch this out. If it's not Sophie Cunningham, if it's Asia Wilson going in for a layup, does Dejanay Carrington hit her like that?
No, don't even try. Just let her go on in. 2-time MVP, bigger than her, taller than her.
If it's Angel Reese, if she's playing Angel Reese, her former teammate.
No, she did this on purpose because of what Sophie Cunningham said last week about biological males playing in the WNBA and others saying transgender should be allowed to play, which led to something else we might be talking about.
Oh, I think we'll talk about that here in a second.
But it's no, this is nothing. I mean, did she wear the wig to match Sophie Cunningham?
No, she's been wearing it for a while, but
that was all over. That was all over the news too. But it was. There's no way she could have caught up to her. You can watch her steps. She's not taking fast steps. She's taking big, long, wide steps. There's no way she can hit the ball. None.
And if you're going for the ball, that just proves the lack of athletic ability.
It'd have been just a hard foul until she went in the locker room.
Well, and then it stopped being about basketball.
Yep.
Minutes after the ejection, Dejanay Carrington went on Threads and posted 2 words. Immediately. White privilege. And tagged the Indiana Fever. That's the whole post. Cunningham was asked about it after the game, and her answer is worth hearing in full because it's the strangest and strongest thing. It's the strongest thing she said all night. Her words, I think the league is taking care of that. This has nothing to do with race. Last year, I did the exact same thing, and I got kicked out, and I deserve to be kicked out. There's no reason even to play that card. And she's referring to something real in June of 2025 at the end of a Fever Sun game where Sophie Cunningham became a household name, if you will.
Right. And she was covering for Caitlin Clark, who got smacked by the girl she took down.
Yeah, Cunningham chased down J.C. Sheldon, who now plays for the Sky, interestingly enough, incidentally, and wrapped her up in what was essentially a tackle to stop a layup, but she didn't throw her to the ground. She didn't hit her with an elbow. Nothing like she just grabbed her, took her to the ground. Hold her down. Yeah. Cunningham was assessed a flagrant 2 for it. She got ejected. She's saying correctly that the same rule was applied to her the same way and that she had it coming that night. That's not a talking point. That's a player pointing out her own ejection and saying the standard was consistent. And we should note what Cunningham did not do. She did not accuse Carrington of racism. She did not demand a suspension. She said the league would handle it, said the race framing was wrong, and moved on with a line that was almost cheerful. Another day, another dollar. Welcome to my life, girls. That's exactly how she ended it, by the way. Craig, Cunningham's answer to a racism accusation, a completely made up, silly racism accusation when the exact same thing happened. In fact, I listened to Jamel Hill this morning and over the weekend, and she was like, well, because I'm self-loathing. Jamel Hill said, well, Sophie Cunningham became popular. Is everyone going to follow Dejanay Carrington now? So now we have equity when it comes to who people should follow on social media when stuff happens in sports.
They're not understanding their damage in the league, and I still can't figure out why she tagged the Fever on that post because I don't think the Fever called the flagrant 2. I think it was the referees, which are part of the league.
Yeah. Well, and let's be honest, the league-wide, the officiating has been terrible. And I'm not just picking on the WNBA. MLB, now that they have the VAR, the balls and strikes, they're terrible too. And we've been saying they're terrible for years. Now we just have proof of it, you know?
Yeah.
I watched a Detroit game the other night where they had 9 balls and strikes overturned. And it was just,
but they're by an inch. They're by an inch.
Yeah, right. But
I mean, you can't be a human can't be that precise on a 98-mile-an-hour curveball.
No, but now they're in the 8. They're like correct 84% of the time. So these are changing ball games. Anyway, past the point. But when it comes to this, Craig Cunningham's answer to a racism accusation was to point at her own ejection, which was very wise, by the way, a year ago, and say the rule was applied to her identically. That's about as complete as a rebuttal as exists. Why is that not the end of the conversation here?
Because she came back, Carrington came back with another post and put, I think, 9:23 or whenever it is they play them again.
Mm-hmm.
She's already planning, or maybe it's 8:23. She's already planning ahead.
Yeah, they're at the end of their...
I talked to a guy today. He said, "You think they're doing all this on purpose? Do you think the players have got together and said, we want to boost the league, so we're going to start doing all this stuff?" And I said, well, let's look at it like this. I said, in 2019, the teams were valued between $10 and $20 million. I saw this on PBD this morning. Today, they're valued between $420 million and $845 million. The Las Vegas Aces, $845 million. They're not trying to gin up the stuff. What's doing it is the play has upgraded. The stadiums are getting full. They've got a TV contract. And when did all that occur? 3 years ago, when Caitlin Clark got drafted.
Yeah.
I mean, but they, the players, when the NBA was about to go down and Magic and Bird came in, the players didn't go after those two guys because they were getting all the press.
Yep.
Because they had that, the big run. They embraced it. And then when Jordan came in, they didn't start taking him out except for Isaiah Thomas.
Well, they had the Jordan rules. I mean, that's exactly what they did. But but
the WNBA cannot figure out how to ride the golden goose to riches. Well, they don't have to promote her. They just have to not kill her.
Well, and that's what it seems to be at this point. The context, though, and this is, I think, where people, this is not a vacuum, right? Last month, ESPN published a piece in which Sophie Cunningham said she supports barring transgender girls and women from girls and women's sports. To Kel's point, she has said some controversial things. However, I don't think that's controversial. As somebody who has daughters who played sports, a daughter that's a Division I athlete, I don't think that's controversial to say that women should play women in women's sports. What does the W in the WNBA actually stand for?
Yeah. Do you want that French league player coming over here?
She dominates.
Besides the two WNBA players, she's already the French player's already dominating French basketball by a mile.
Well, she has since said she got significant negative feedback accusing her of hating transgender people, and her response was pretty simple. I never once said that. Her framing has been that she's trying to protect young girls in locker rooms and in competition. Vice President Vance publicly praised her for it. Other players went the other way. Golden State's Gabby Williams, who we played on Friday, said she'd welcome a transgender athlete on her team or against it anytime. Fever teammate Sydney Colson drew attention with a post referencing Cunningham's views. And since then, there have been rallies.
How did you take Colson's posts?
I didn't
as supportive of Cunningham or just joking around?
I thought it was just joking around. Okay. I thought that because that's what players do. How did you take it?
I was hoping to take it joking around. I didn't really know, but I mean, it's just a dig like guys do.
Well, since this has happened a couple weeks ago, there have been rallies both supporting and opposing Cunningham's outside arenas in Seattle and Portland. She was booed in Seattle. Okay. In Portland and on Saturday in Chicago, which is probably why the clapping. So this is a player who has become a political symbol, even though she didn't really say anything that we thought was necessarily all that crazy. Walking into a road arena where people are demonstrating about her and taking a forearm to the neck on national television. We're not going to tell you Carrington fouled her over politics. Nobody knows that, right? We don't know that. I don't know that she's running through, 3/4 of the length of the court and goes, I'm gonna get this girl on this.
Yeah, that in the NBA, if it's just a routine foul, that's a chase down foul, so they're going to get automatic 2 shots in the ball anyway.
But here's the thing: is that had it ended with the scrum and the fans cheering, for her, giving it, so that would have been it. But 5 minutes later, she goes into the locker room, puts on threads that says, white privilege. What's the privilege?
And tags the fever.
Getting your butt kicked?
You got the team owner that screamed, I guess, lack of a better word, at young girls that were had the XY, XX shirts on.
Right.
That were supporting Sophie Cunningham, and that league owner got a 5-game suspension. I mean, so you can't watch your game for 5 games.
You and I saw a photo that was blasted out everywhere last week, where essentially said this lady had a sign that she had made that said, I didn't think there could be anybody that I could hate more than Caitlin Clark. Thanks for proving me wrong, Sophie.
Yeah.
Essentially saying, because you've taken a position that would absolutely destroy this league, by the way, would absolutely destroy this league if they allowed transgender people into the league. That's somehow controversial? I don't understand. Craig, help me out here, because Sports Illustrated literally called it karma in their post.
But so's everybody else. People are cheering on Enos Cantner Freedom and Royce White. And Royce White is running with it. He's in a video on a wig. I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen him talk about it.
Yeah.
He says, I will dress and undress with the other WNBA players in the room. Today I'm transgendered concerning only basketball. Tomorrow I'm not, when we're not playing. I mean, these guys, him and Cantner, are running with it. And the WNBA, I don't know if you got it on here, but the WNBA has called an emergency meeting for next week.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
And will they define what a woman is?
Well, this is the part why the league is scrambling. We talked about this on Friday, but Enos Cantor Freedom, that's his legal name now. Third overall pick in the 2011 NBA draft, 11 seasons, one of the more outspoken human rights activists in American sport.
And he quit the league. He quit
the league because of their position on China,
right,
and other human rights violations.
That gave away millions and millions.
By the way, that's gutsy, you all. And anybody out there that's like, but did you see him ever play defense? Have you ever played defense?
He played in the league 11 years.
Yeah. I think he's all
Don't
right.
say nothing. He played 11 years.
He posted a video declaring himself eligible for the WNBA draft in April of 2027. His argument, if simply declaring who you are is all that's required, then I meet every single requirement necessary to compete in the WNBA. We want to read you the part that most posts cut out. Freedom also wrote that he's definitely not here to mock, make fun of, or disrespect any community or personal choices, that he's simply asking that the current rules be applied equally to everyone. Then you have Royce White. And by the way, these are not the only guys who are going to do this. These are just the first two.
Everybody's calling for Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman's the one that they're actively looking for right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you will, but I've never known Dennis Rodman to turn away publicity.
There's people looking for him. Yeah. They're encouraging him to do it.
He's in the far reaches of the world right now.
He get 50
North Korea or something.
Yeah.
I wonder if Kim Jong-un is a big WNBA fan. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
White was a first-round pick in 2012 who played 3 NBA games total, and he's a Republican Senate candidate in Minnesota.
You know stat line?
What's that?
For those 3 games that he played?
No.
Zeros across the board.
And he would still average 30 points a game against these people.
He committed 2 fouls. That's his only positive stat line.
His version is a very different thing. White said he's transgender. He's a woman. He identifies as sometimes identifying as a woman for purposes of professional basketball, and that the wig is in the male. He said he'd be unstoppable, but he's a team-first guy. He asked whether the criteria is just a wig, whether he has to cut his beard, whether his voice has to get a little higher. He's threatened legal action at this point if he goes undrafted. He also said the league could end the whole thing by making a definitive statement about who's eligible, and when asked whether he stands down if they did, he said, "Oh no, I'm declaring." Craig, those are 2 very different things, wearing the same jersey. Freedom said explicitly he's not mocking anyone and asked for the rules to be applied evenly. A little bit more.
I'm going to send you a picture of him in a wig.
Yeah, White is doing a bit about wigs and beards. Does the second one help the argument or wreck it, or does it just show the lunacy of it all?
Yeah, exactly. It shows how preposterous this whole thing is of them keeping trying to not say they don't want men to play, but then actually saying they do want them, that kind of deal.
Yeah.
Let's see, Kyle. So your name's Kyle, right?
My name's Kyle.
Thompson.
while you're sending me that, let's do the one thing that almost nobody covering this has done, which is read the actual rule. The WNBA's collective bargaining agreement, Article 13, Section 1A says this: only players who are women are eligible to be in the WNBA. That's it. That's the language. The league has not adopted a self-identification standard. It has not published criteria for how it would evaluate whether a transgender applicant meets.
Put your lawyer hat on. What's missing? Definition of a woman.
Definition of a woman. But again, that's the lunacy of all of this. Is that what does the W stand for in WNBA?
But they've forced this.
They have forced it. I'm not denying it.
By saying they would welcome, many of the players and coaches saying they welcome a transgender, and I wonder if they welcome them if it costs them their job, if they lost their contract.
Well, if 10 guys showed up, you have effectively removed an entire ball club of women.
Right, and Royce White, 6'7", and his hand's so darn big, it's like me palming an orange.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You know, he said, I'll get 40 rebounds first game, and I won't even break a sweat. Of course, it's probably not. Well, I guarantee you there's 40 rebounds because there's so many air balls in the WNBA. But
somebody was arguing the other day. Oh, by the way, let's talk about a couple of crazy stats this weekend. On Friday night, Angel Reese went 1 for 12 from the field. Every single shot was within 5 feet of the basket. Yep. She had 7 points because she made 5 free throws, but she had her shot blocked 6 times. She had 3 air balls in the game from 5 feet.
She is the most blocked player in the WNBA.
And someone said, well, she is averaging 14 points a game and 14 rebounds, so that just shows something. All of her rebounds are her own misses, guys.
That's right.
It doesn't make you a great player.
They coined the term
me-bound. Yeah, because of her.
For her. And they'll count that like 70% of her rebounds are her own shots, missed shots.
Now,
you got the picture, by the way.
Let me tell you the other story here that is coming in, and that I am just as much baffled by this as well. This is a league that wants to have respect. The Las Vegas Aces on Saturday sat their big three.
Which was stupid.
And they got destroyed by like 24 points.
You're right.
The reason that they sat their big three, according to their coach after the game, is they're mad that they had to play, can't even say it, back-to-back road games.
Mm-hmm.
On two different nights.
And back-to-back road games are defined in the WNBA players' agreement.
Right. You're actually required to not sit people based upon whatever you're protesting or if you're upset, any of this stuff. They sat their 3 big people. They got destroyed in a protest. Now, you're telling me that you want to be taken seriously as a league, but your coach throws a hissy fit and a temper tantrum on national television and says, I'm not playing my big 3 to protest the fact that we had to work today.
Well, and think of
lost your mind.
Think of the fans, the little girls that went to that game to see
the Las Vegas Aces, the world champions.
Yeah.
How much money was spent to go to that, and you didn't play them because you were mad?
Yeah, and the rule is if you're in your state playing back-to-backs, it's a 20-hour difference. If you're going more than one state away, it's a 22-hour difference between the games, which that game met both criteria.
Of course it did.
It did not break any contract. And I know we're getting in the weeds, but that league, I don't know if they're a basketball league anymore or if they're an activist league.
It sounds like it's an activist league.
That's all they do.
Here's a picture of Royce White.
And he's a big man, let me tell you.
That's a big woman right there. You heard he identifies, Craig. He says he identifies as a woman.
Yeah, it was like that weightlifter we talked about Friday.
Yeah. So what a mess. What a mess. They have lost the entire plot.
And when you watch a WNBA game, if you watch college basketball, men's, high school basketball, or NBA, and you go watch a women's WNBA game,
close.
You can count. You can count on 7 or 8 air balls, maybe more. You can count on so many missed layups. It's ridiculous.
I will tell you this:
not a game to watch.
I enjoy watching Franklin County high school girls basketball way more than I enjoy WNBA basketball.
I bet the high school girls don't shoot as many air balls as the WNBA
Not even close.
players.
Not even close. Joey
Right.
wouldn't allow that to happen when he was there, and I know their coaching staff now wouldn't do that. There is fundamentals, and there are no fundamentals in the WNBA. They've expanded that league.
They
to too many
walk
players.
first in the NBA.
It's
And
just-
Caitlin Clark will take 3 steps before she takes a shot. Drives me crazy.
I make no defense of some of her goofy plays, and honestly, I get tired of her whining and crying too. This league has lost the plot, and let me just say this. This is my take on this. 3 things. First of all, the foul. That was a dangerous play. She couldn't break her fall, forearm across the head and neck, breakaways. That's how people get seriously injured.
Yep.
They have concussions, they have neck injuries, they have all sorts of things. The officials got it right, and Cunningham's own coach said so. And then the woman who threw it posted white privilege on the internet, and Cunningham's answer was to point at her own ejection. Very well played. It's not a defense. That's simply a closing argument. She said, same thing happened to me. I did it. It was wrong, and it should have ended it. What actually happened instead is that a national magazine called it karma, Sports Illustrated, which, by the way, anybody that's watching Sports Illustrated anymore, with all of the AI-generated articles that they've had for the last few years, and they have made up authors, and they've been found to have done this.
Well, they announced that they were going to start using AI more to be the writers because of costs.
Right. Well, but then they actually allowed that to come out saying that it was karma. That just shows that I don't care what you think about Sophie Cunningham's politics. When you get to the place where a sports outlet frames a woman taking a shot across the neck as her comeuppance for her opinions, something has badly gone wrong in your league. Yeah. That is disgusting.
And nobody knows her politics.
She's
never talked about it.
She's never said. And I heard somebody today say, "Well, I saw her at a country concert, so that means she's a Republican." Right. What?
Yeah.
What does that mean? It doesn't even make sense. Second, the declarations. I'll separate them because they're not the same. Enos Cantor Freedom made a serious argument and said plainly he wasn't mocking anyone. And I think that's true. That is a man.
He's 6'10". He's 6'10", by the way, or 6'11". I'm sorry.
That's a man who lost his passport and had his family threatened for criticizing a dictator. And he's not somebody who does things for a laugh. Royce White did a routine about wigs and beards, and he even said snip, snip at one point. And I think that's a little beneath the argument, but it meets the level
he's having
the
fun
lunacy of it all.
Yeah, he's having fun with it.
Yeah. If your position is that it's a serious question about fairness and safety in women's sports, and it is, then you do not advance it by mocking it. He should have gone in just like Enos Cantor Freedom did. Just come in and say, what's the problem? But he's essentially sold out on his position and how he's going to sell it, and that's fine.
But he's running for the U.S. Senate, too. He gets notoriety off of that.
Third, and this is where I actually land, the WNBA's own contract says only women are eligible. And the league will not tell anyone what that sentence means. That is a failure of leadership. We talked about the failure of leadership last week. It is appalling how bad it is. And it's a failure whichever answer you'd prefer they give. Gabby Williams said that she'd welcome a trans athlete. Sophie Cunningham says that she wouldn't. Both of these women are employees of a league that has left them out there alone to fight this in the public square where it doesn't need to be held. It's a lack of leadership.
Which Supreme Court justice was it said she couldn't define a woman in her congressional confirmation?
Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Yeah, she couldn't define a woman.
She's not a biologist.
Yeah, the WTA, World Tennis Association, requires every athlete, I guess, or I don't know if it's every female athlete or every athlete to take a DNA test to prove what gender.
Trying to get into the men's side.
And Coco Gauff, who's black, applauded that play because she knows, like Serena Williams is famous for saying, I couldn't beat the number 300 ranked male player. He would kill me on. He would beat me 6. She goes, he beat me love, and love.
She said, I might get a serve returned. One serve returned.
The WTA, so now people are calling for the WNBA to adopt what the WTA is doing for their female athletes.
And they absolutely should from a safety perspective. But let me also say, we as a society have lost a plot if we have to start defining things like men and women. This is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
This is ridiculous. And we have real problems in this country. Real problems. whether Enes Kanter should be able to play in the WNBA is not something that we have to deal with, but he's having to do this because we have to get past this lunacy so that we can handle some real problems in this country.
Yeah, and there's a big civil rights law firm that has lined up behind him and said if he is not drafted, then they will sue the WNBA.
Well,
I mean, it's a big national civil rights group.
The funny part is it's checkmate. No matter what they decide to do, they're going to lose people.
Yep.
It's going to be unpopular. It's already a very unpopular league. I don't care what anybody says. I saw something the other day. You and I were talking about this. You said, their numbers are down. I'm like, I just saw something that said their numbers are up like 10%. Then I went and looked at it, and the Golden State Valkyries have had the exact same number of people attend all of their games because they say all of their games are sellouts.
Oh, yeah.
But I went and watched some of their highlights, and there are many, many seats empty. They're calling things sellouts that are not sellouts.
Yeah, the WNBA or the owner could be buying those extra tickets.
Of course.
Remember when Oakland A's weren't able to get people in the stands, so the owner bought a bunch of tickets, and they were giving them out for free on the street. Yeah. And it's like Gavin Newsom buying his own book up, his team buying his book up to say it was a New York bestseller. You got to look into the numbers because when UK has sellouts, they'll say 23, 243, 22, 248.
There's always a difference in the number.
It's a different number every time.
The Valkyries have the same number of seats sold every single game. That's an automatic dead giveaway. And they'll say, well, you only have so many seats. There's standing room only. There's, all the other things that it doesn't make any sense. And it just shows that they're not being honest.
Selling out arenas like they used to.
Well, and you and I that's the real key. Don't look at the ones who say they've sold out. Look at the Indiana Fever. The Indiana Fever did sell out all of their games 2 seasons ago, and they are not selling out now.
Just 5 this year.
Just 5 of their, 16 home games they've had?
Yeah, they played 44 in the season.
Yeah.
But they've only sold out 5 so far.
It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. Well, from a league that won't say what its rules mean to a Senate that finally voted at 4 o'clock Saturday morning. At roughly 4 o'clock Saturday morning at the tail end of a late-night session, the United States Senate confirmed Todd Blanche as the 88th Attorney General of the United States. The vote was 50-49. Every Democrat voted no. Republicans, Susan Collins of Maine and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska voted no, along with every Democrat who voted no. And because Mitch McConnell of Kentucky is still absent, that was the entire margin. Republicans could afford exactly 2 defections, and they got exactly 2. Bill Cassidy of Louisiana was the vote that decided it, and he announced it Friday from the Senate floor with a line. It's going to follow him for the rest of his life. All considered, I'll vote for Mr. Blanche.
I don't even understand that one. I don't even understand him saying that.
All considered, I'll vote for Mr. Blanche. I'll be criticized for this vote. What's new? Blanche posted afterward that he was deeply honored by the trust and confidence President Trump had placed in him and grateful to the Senate for staying late to complete the process. The White House press secretary called it a huge win for the president and the country. Senator Alex Padilla of California, one of our favorites on the show to talk about, put it the other side of it out there. Todd Blanche claims he was Donald Trump's personal attorney, but is continuing to act as if he's still Donald Trump's personal attorney. And here's the contrast worth holding on to. When Blanche was confirmed as Deputy Attorney General in early 2025, the vote was 52-46, and not one Republican voted against him. But Susan Collins is running for office, and she wants to get all of the moderate votes that you can get in Maine, whatever those are, because it doesn't seem like anybody out there is moderate now.
And remember, 77% voted for Mr. Nazi of the Year. And don't forget also that Eric Holder said for President Obama, said, I'm Barack's wingman.
I'm his wingman. I'm gonna do whatever he tells me to do.
I don't think I've heard Todd Blanche say that yet.
No.
Other than just being his attorney.
Yeah, it's a mess. Craig, no Republicans opposed him for Deputy AG 18 months ago. 2 opposed him for AG on Saturday. Same man. Did anything change in between besides time and circumstance?
Yeah, no, just they got upcoming elections, and Murkowski doesn't, but she always votes with the Democrats anyway. On any big issue, she can be counted on to voting with the Democrats. Every now and then, Collins she'll vote with the Republicans.
And for those of you who have not been following everything that's going on here, why it matters, the very first test of what this Justice Department will do under a full-time Todd Blanche as U.S. Attorney General is going to be to see what happens with the Anthony Fauci contempt action from Congress. As you guys will remember, Rand Paul skipped the full Senate, went straight to the Department of Justice. There's nothing that I've seen, anybody's been able to show me, that says they have to go to the full Senate. If a committee finds that he votes that he committed contempt of Congress, I don't know that I haven't seen anything. Nobody's been able to show me anything.
Yeah.
Although I'm willing to listen to what happens in the.
Well, the TV lawyers have said there's nothing that says he has to go to the Senate and before going to the Department of Justice either.
Well, as your TV lawyer, I will say that I think they can go straight to the Department of Justice.
There you go.
Just like I think anybody can. I think you can make a claim of it, that anybody can. Now, does it help that they have the backing of a committee? Sure, but I mean, I think anybody could have made a referral just independently. So that's going to be the first significant test. We'll obviously see that. We have heard for weeks now that this is just weaponization of the Department of Justice, and yet everybody seems to forget that Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro were held in contempt, prosecuted by the Department of Justice,
and
a Democrat Department of Justice, convicted, and served time.
There you go.
Same statute. The variable was never the law.
Right.
Just who was in power.
Yep. That's what it is, and they think the electorate, which we probably do. We probably forget from 3 weeks ago what happened, but they're forgetting the entire 2015 before the election, what all they did to try to stop Trump. 2 years of Russia, which was again proven wrong. Then they blasted Trump on everything they could think of from 2021 to 2025 because they were afraid he's going to run. And they just had such inept candidates that, the Biden and his failures and Kamala Harris and her selection instead of an election, and they're not going to stop because when J.D. Vance and Rubio win the next election, not AOC and whoever, they're going to tie them to everything Trump did the previous 4 years. I don't know if I will see Trump not mentioned on a Republican for the rest of my life, and I'm 67 years old.
In fact, you'll probably hear, Mazie Hirono.
Of course.
One of the her next question for everybody over the next 4 years, did you support Donald Trump?
Yeah, and what Kyle's talking about is she asked the most stupid question to everybody that comes before.
It's a litmus test. She has a litmus test
for confirmation. Have you sexually abused a woman or something like that? And she even asked females that.
Yeah, it's ludicrous, and she can't name any historical activities. I think somebody questioned her about who the president was during the Great Depression. She didn't know.
Nope.
But she's questioning Scott
FDR,
Bessent.
by the way.
Yes, but she's questioning Scott Bessent about economic aspects, things that are happening, and says, are we headed towards the Great Depression? And she said, another Great Depression under Republicans. And he said, do you know who the president was during the Great Depression? She has no clue.
She couldn't do it.
I mean, it's just,
and
who was a Democrat, by the way?
Todd Bessent is probably close to a genius.
Yeah, very much.
The guy. He is unbelievably smart.
Yeah. Well, speaking of prices going up, as we just mentioned the economy over the weekend, Iran added something new to what it wants for reopening the Strait of Hormuz, and it truly is really silly. On Saturday, the Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, a man named Mohammad Baghar Zolgadar, I don't even know, that's close. That's one shot right there, issued a statement laying out what the United States has to do before the Strait of Hormuz opens. Here's the list. Lift the naval blockade, lift sanctions, withdraw the American military from around Iran, good luck with that, release frozen Iranian assets, double good luck, and then this is the crazy one, and pay war reparations.
Yeah.
Read
If Trump
I want you to hear what he said. He said, we want to be paid war reparations, as if it's Germany in 1945 or something.
And if Trump did that, he would get ridden out on rail.
Oh, my gosh. Also on Saturday, a spokesman for the Revolutionary Guard said the reopening of the strait is not imminent, and critically that it is not contingent on the Iran-Oman negotiations at all. It depends, he said on the United States fully accepting Iran's conditions. And on Sunday, the foreign minister Argachi, I can't even, Arhachi, I don't even know.
Just say that guy.
Said the Iran-Oman agreement is in its final stages, but that an agreement with Oman does not mean the strait will be reopened. He added the United States continues to violate the June Memorandum of Understanding. I don't think we really care. I think that memorandum is way out the window at this point.
Craig, still don't know who's leading Iran.
And we still have no clue.
Remember the dark car super spy meeting between the president of Iran and a completely blacked out car?
Yeah.
And the president comes in and goes, I don't know if I was talking to the Ayatollah or not.
He literally said that. It was the weirdest
and then
thing.
There was rumors on X that he was arrested, but that turned out to be false.
We also heard that on 2C TV yesterday afternoon that there are rumors that are coming out that the supreme leader is either dead, dying, or missing.
I think he's dead.
I don't think he was ever alive. Nobody's seen him since then. So it's a very weird scenario. We want to walk you through the last 8 days on this story a little bit better because it doesn't really help just talking in a vacuum, because we made calls on this program, and you're entitled to see where they held up. Tuesday, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said a deal to open the strait with freedom of movement for commercial vessels could come as soon as Wednesday. The president said a lot of progress had been made. Oil dropped more than 6%. Wednesday, on this show, we said to ignore the podiums and watch the tankers. And we pointed out that the framework being negotiated had ships coordinating with Iran and entering through Iranian waters, which looked a great deal like what Tehran demanded back in March before all of this started. Friday on this show, we told you the negotiation had stalled on money, that Iran wanted 5 to 7% of the value of every single cargo, which could be millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
Oman was at 3 and Washington wanted 0. And we said that once you're arguing about the rate, you have already conceded the principle of that argument. Today is Monday. Iran and Oman have agreed on a shipping route, and Iran has announced that the route agreement doesn't reopen anything, that the reopening isn't contingent on it, and the actual price now includes war reparation. That's the total arc at this point. Every step of it was Tehran discovering that the thing it was holding was worth more than it had asked for the day before. And now we're right here, right back where we were. Craig, 6 days ago, this was supposedly landing by Wednesday. Now the route deal is done between two countries that don't involve the United States. And Iran says the route deal doesn't matter. Is this complete bad faith, or is it a country that correctly figured out it has more leverage than we do? And now that they realize that they're going to hold it over our heads.
Well, they can control the price of oil by mining the Strait of Hormuz, anytime they want. They've always had that. And they want the outgoing ships to follow the Iranian border and the incoming ships to follow the Oman border. So they can control those things. But in the interim, Saudi Arabia and other countries are building pipelines. Saudi Arabia is running a pipeline right now that does 7 million barrels a day, which is not really much. But I shared a great video yesterday on my Facebook page explaining all of this stuff. And it's about 31 minutes long. But there's all kinds of things in play right now where Iran's just going to be shut out. They're going to either build canals that the ships can go through, like the Suez Canal, and or they're going to build numerous pipelines, which they're already under construction.
Yep. That
will completely bypass. The only thing that'll be going through the Strait of Hormuz would be Iranian oil.
But we're years away.
Well, they're not like America, where it takes 20 years to get a bridge.
Well, because they have questionable labor standards over there.
They're digging through sand. I mean, what are you going to disturb? But they're just like China, man. They make a decision and they go. So there's more progress. You really got to dig and look, but there's way more progress on these old pipelines to bypass the strait than most people are aware.
Yeah, I want to be clear about something. I made a promise on this program, and you did too, about a week ago, and I think we should keep it, including the part I don't enjoy saying. I said that if loaded tankers started moving through Hormuz in volume, I'd say the president pulled off something significant, and that the doubters, much like myself, were wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That clock is about a week left on it, and I mean every word. If a deal lands and ships move, I will sit at this desk, as I know you will, and say I was wrong, and I'll mean it, and I think you'll mean it. But I'm not going to pretend today that is what it looks like is going to happen. Today, Iran told us the root agreement everybody was celebrating doesn't reopen anything and added a reparations request. Now President Trump has said he wants reparations at this point. In March, the White House said one of the goals of this operation was to take away Iran's ability to close the Strait of Hormuz. 5.5 months later, Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz, has kept it closed, and is now setting the terms for reopening. Whatever you think of the war's premise, good or bad, and we believed at the time, we still believe, a nuclear Iran is a scary Iran. You can't have that.
Right.
Not in a safe world.
They'll nuke Israel out of existence.
There was a real case for hitting the nuclear program, and I've said so on this show, as have you. That specific objective apparently has failed at this point, and failure is not a partisan observation, because apparently there's still some nuclear fission, whatever, going on out there. So there is a program out there that is still, there's elements out there that have not been taken care of. It's a fact you either look at or you don't. And 16 American families are owed better than a slogan. Period. End of story. And the United States Congress, which has the constitutional authority here, has now gone 5.5 months without a vote, while gas went from $2.98 to over $4. That's not the president's failure alone. Everyone has to eat this. That one belongs to 535 people who'd rather not be on the record saying what they should do. And that's pathetic. Now, if the president has something up his sleeve to end this war, which may or may not include escalation, then it needs to happen at this point. I'm sorry. Either pull out, take your L, let Oman figure it out, let the world deal with their issues in the Strait of Hormuz. Because remember, we don't need the Strait of Hormuz. We're only doing this for other countries.
Yeah, we get 2% of our oil through the Strait of Hormuz, which we
and
get.
Now that we have Venezuela,
right,
it's unnecessary.
And if Alberta decides to do their thing, then we got nowhere. We just hold those three. But here, there's an app called Marine Traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
There you go.
Marine, those red dots, triangles, and all that stuff. That ship's moving through the Strait of Hormuz, and you can notice they're not moving. That is a cool app to see if you what's called Marine Traffic. If you want to get, there's a free version and a paid version, but it shows marine traffic just like the Flight Radar 24 shows all the airplanes flying around. So those are cool apps if you want to stay up on that kind of stuff. But we can't. Iran is going to wait us out. They see Trump's poll numbers. If we had the same energy that we have today, when we went into World War II, we will have lost. Eastern half of the country would be German. The western half would be Japanese.
Well, and the other thing,
we don't have that resolve that we had during the big war and WW2.
Well, I will also say this. Over the weekend, we know that mass killings in the streets of Tehran picked up again.
Sure.
That they are killing dissidents in the street.
And they're
public executions.
Young people, teenagers.
Yeah, these are the young people. These are the ones that they're most afraid of. Men and women and children. Yeah. And it's disgusting if the people of the United States can't see that these are crazy, nihilistic, awful humans that are killing other humans and can't get behind ending that.
Yeah.
Then I don't know what else we can do.
No, and like I said, they're going to wait us out. They see that Trump's numbers are decreasing every month. Their Democrats are united against anything he does. They see that. They watch our polls. Yep. They watch all that stuff. They know they've been around 4, 5, 6,000 years. What's 2 more years to them? It's nothing. They'll wait us out. Democrats will give them everything they want if they win the presidency, which they won't do. But they would give them everything they want, and then they would continue with their terrorist proxies all over the planet.
Absolutely. Well, we've talked a lot about a lot of heavy things. You want to get into some sports and enjoy a little bit?
Sure. Let's do it. Let's do that. Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Well, we told you on Friday about Keyshawn Hall posting 2 photographs, so we're not going to run that back. Instead, let's reset the whole thing because I think there's a lot of people. That picture has changed, and there's news today. Let's start where Kentucky actually is. Mark Pope has 1 scholarship open, the 15th, as we have talked about numerous times, and he's been sitting on it deliberately since June, saying he loves this roster but wants the spot in case something comes along that makes the team better. By the way, we're kind of in the second summer break for these guys at this point. So whoever joins the team, if anybody joins the team, they're going to be coming in after summer practices have ended and school has started.
Yep.
If they're even attending, so if that's even a thing anymore. He says he loves his roster. He says he's ready to go to war with them. That looked like patience at the time after a federal judge in Colorado handed a 5th year of eligibility to an entire class of players. It looks like foresight. Now the hole he's trying to fill. Kentucky finished 158th nationally in rebounding rate last season. That is not a bad stretch, Craig. That is a structural weakness.
Right.
And it's the thing that ends good Kentucky seasons in March. The 4 spot is genuinely up for grabs going into the season. Malachi Moreno is back for year 2, and Milan Momcilovic arrived from Iowa State. But behind them, the front court is a little thin, and it's fragile. Cam Williams is out indefinitely.
Frank the Tank is back, right?
He is.
He is fully healthy.
And so is Justin McBride. However, Cam Williams is out indefinitely after a second procedure. Frank Kepnong has a long injury history, and I know they're trying to protect him as well.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows anything about Usman Njai. He brings over some international experience
and speed.
Add that Kentucky already missed on international wing Nicola Kusturica, who chose UCLA a month ago. Gross. And you understand why this 1 scholarship matters more than a 15th scholarship usually does. Craig, before we get into where we are as of today, 158th in rebounding rate, a 4 spot that's essentially open for someone to come in and start in, and 2 front court bodies who may or may not be available at this point. It's not a luxury at this point. It's kind of a need. I mean, it's funny because there are other guards out there. We're only looking at that 4 spot, it looks like. Right. How much of Kentucky's ceiling this season is sitting in that 1 empty chair potentially?
It depends on Cam. If Cam, he says he will be back for the first game. So, and I believe that after our conversations with his dad and some that I had with his dad, I believe he'll be back for the first game. He's at all the practices. He's still doing his player interviews on WLEX, him and a couple other players. So I think it's going to, if Cam gets back the beginning of the season, I ain't got to worry in the world. I don't got to worry in the world anyway. But if we can add 18 points a game to this already potent offense, I'll take it all day long. If Keyshawn Hall wants to come, or the guy you like, if either one of them guys come and bring 18 points to the game, they bring 18 points to a game, hey, I'm all for it because we will almost be able to platoon then.
Well, I did have somebody tell me, it was our insider, Todd, our insider. He told me today, before we talk about who's still out there, what if I told you that the picture of Mark Pope on the beach with the Jack and the King in his hand was Jackson Kohler, and he was just playing the long game on all of us?
Yeah, that would be pretty awesome. Yeah, that would be what a Rhodes Scholar would do.
I mean, he's a lot smarter than you and I are. So who's on the board? And here's where today's news comes in. Reporting has Kentucky's top 3 targets as Mark Mitchell, Jackson Kohler, and Keyshawn Hall still. And the momentum appears to have shifted toward the first 2. Mark Mitchell is the name that moved today because word is he does intend and has committed that he intends to play college basketball next season rather than chase a pro opportunity. That matters because he went undrafted in June and spent the summer with the Denver Summer League team, averaging just under 5 points a game. And a guy in that spot can go either direction, G League or make some money in the...
Right, you'd be a 2-way.
Yeah. Mitchell is 6'9", 230, 2 years at Duke, 2 at Missouri, second team all SEC last season, 18.3 points, 5.2 rebounds, 3.6 assists on 55% shooting from the floor. He led Missouri in all 3 of those categories. He'd start at the 4 immediately, most likely, I would assume. and slide to the 3 when Momcilovic and or Cam are not playing it. Jackson Kohler is the rebounding answer. He is 9. He's Tom Izzo's captain. I mean, that just says enough.
That tells you enough right there.
Character, right?
Yeah.
All Big Ten honorable mention. Wasn't the first 2 teams, but it was honorable mention. 12.5 points, 8.9 rebounds, third best rebounder in the Big Ten, only behind the 2 big at the University of Michigan.
And don't forget the big one, NCAA champion.
Yeah, the Michigan Wolverines, NCAA champions. And he only fell behind them.
Right.
312 boards good for top 25 nationally, a dozen or more double-doubles. This is the Sheboy this is the Oscar Sheboy.
Right. And you can make millions by getting
Dennis Rodman
12 rebounds a game and only scoring 3 points.
Absolutely, you can. The part that makes him fit Pope's system, and I know that we've gone back and forth about who we would like to see. They'd all be great. I'm not going to lie about that. I do have some concerns about Keyshawn Hall and him being at several schools, and we've heard some.
But I see him as adapting, being able to adapt at different locations.
That's fair.
That's what I like about it.
The thing about this is that he shot 50% from the floor, 38.9 from the 3 on more than 4 attempts a game, which is high for that position. Yeah. After barely taking 1 a game the year before. His competition right now is Kansas and BYU. He's from Utah. He is a Mormon kid. Would make sense. Home matters. We just lost, Colin Chandler to go back to BYU and Michigan State. Though Tom Izzo has hinted it's too late for the Spartans that they don't to add him back. And Keyshawn Hall is still out there, 19. And
he said he's not going. Hall said he's not going back to where he was, right?
Yeah, he is not. Yeah. But at this point, Hall tweeted out the St. John's thing. A lot of Kentucky fans are saying, listen, I think you're just playing Kentucky against St. John's, try to get some more money.
Yeah.
The problem with Hall, and I'll just throw this out there, he needs shots to be a happy player, and he's going to get you some garbage play.
But Pope wants them all to shoot, though.
Pope does want them all.
And he wants over 33 point attempts per game this year.
I will say that George said how long before. I think he's saying how long before Mitchell decides.
Who knows?
I have heard.
I don't know why they haven't decided already.
I agree. I have heard that there will be news coming out tomorrow.
So you saw that too?
On at least 2 individuals, and that Kentucky may be adding this person. The other thing we have to remember about this, and you have to take this with a grain of salt, we don't know if these guys are going to be eligible. Like we understand that they're ruling in favor of the players all the time. We understand there's a very good shot that the Court of Appeals is going to uphold it. It may even be expedited to the Supreme Court, which is not in session right now, by the way. But a Court of Appeals judgment would essentially get you through the better part of the first half of the basketball season. That may be on an expedited procedure, even if they're trying to consolidate some of these. It's a little bit different here. I think these guys are going to demand that they have guarantees. So if they essentially get kicked out because they can't play anymore, then they're going to want to be paid for that rented time that they can't go back into the G League. They will have lost a roster spot and everything. And so I think at this point, the idea has to be that whoever you're getting as a temporary fix, you may not have them. So this is a tough coaching position. If you get somebody like, say, Mark Mitchell, and he moves into the 4 spot, and you play your first 4 games, and we've looked like world beaters, and then you remove him, you're going to be scrambling to figure out how to find that mojo again. Yeah. And that may be enough to scare you away from signing one of these guys.
But the big question is, why in the heck is the NCAA appealing this? They know they're going to lose. I don't have any doubt they're going to lose. And it's so close to the season, why even do it? That's what I don't understand.
I will tell you.
I don't know. People like suing just for the crap of it anymore.
Yeah, I will tell you where I land, and it's no surprise to you. I want Jackson Kohler. I think there's a leader. I think he brings a leadership to a team that has some good kids. And in fact, if you saw any of the stuff from them over the weekend on the boat where they were all hanging out together and having a big time at the end of last week and this weekend, these kids like each other.
Yeah, I think so too.
This is I am so excited that the fans are going to have a bunch of guys who love each other and love hanging out with each other. And I genuinely believe that, not just from what I'm seeing online, but also who I'm talking to, that these are good kids. They come from good families and they come from good aspects of they want the team to succeed. This is not this is not a rent a year for some of these kids like it would have been if you had a Tyron Stokes or something like that. And so Kohler first, Mitchell, Hall, we'd be great with any of them. If Pope gets none of them, a scholarship, and that seat sits empty, it's still not a failure.
Or give it to one of the walk-ons.
Well, now it's just 15 seats, so it's like, even the walk-ons that they have, those guys you can only have 15 guys total. So
I know, but if they don't fill it, if they whiff on all three of them, then give it to one of the walk-ons. I mean, don't just let it sit there and gather dust. But remember, Hall's dad engaged with the Tennessee fans, and reading his tweets, it seemed like he was favoring UK.
Yeah, well, he doesn't want anything to be out because I think he's going to be. He wants to have a bidding war. You only make a lot of money if there's a bidding war, right?
It's his kid. Yeah, I don't blame him. It's his kid.
It's going to be interesting to see over the next couple of days. I believe you will have some information between 10 and noon tomorrow afternoon.
It's a bold prediction.
You heard it here first.
Yeah,
I think you'll have some information.
I'll make sure I'm up before 10 tomorrow.
Well, depends on if there's any other news coming out.
Yeah.
Anything before we get out of here tonight, Craig?
Well, we're off tomorrow.
We're off tomorrow. I'm taking my wife for her birthday present. Her birthday was a couple months ago, but I'm taking her for her. It was like a birthday / anniversary present. I'm taking her to see her two favorite music artists tomorrow night in Louisville, Iroquois Park. So we're looking forward to that.
You flying up in your helicopter?
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, I'm paying for parking. Trust me. Hopefully we won't lose our phone this time or our car this time.
Right.
We've been
well. Your apps can, Waze will mark your spot.
Yeah, we've learned all the new tricks now since we've done that. Okay. So it's what you got to do. Craig, thank you as always. We will be back here Wednesday. Obviously, if something pops off tomorrow afternoon before I head out of town, we'll try to hop on here and maybe do a quick video and get things done and see what we can do. Or we could just do it live while I'm running around. We'll see what happens. Craig, thank you as always. To everyone watching and listening, thank you for being here today. Subscribe if you haven't. Give us a like. Share it with somebody who needs to be above the noise. Make sure you click that notification bell. But until next time, we want to make sure that you stay informed, stay sharp, stay above the noise. Good night, everybody. Have a great Monday evening. We will talk to you guys on Wednesday, if not before. See ya.